You spent countless hours in the garage with your dad. Now investing in that old car and working on it with your son reminds you of him. And his legacy lives on. Fund your passion with a low-interest home equity line of credit from Bank of Blue Valley.
Oh my God, where are you?
Oh, there you are. You look so nice. What did you do today?
Thank you. Well, first of all, I think in 2023, we should have a goal of you having a new intro.
Oh, I got a dinosaur to fidget with. I don't know if that helps.
We had a TikTok luncheon, TikTok for Business luncheon down at my office at 2000 Vine Street. So that's what I did today. It sold out. It sold out so much that yesterday we had people calling the office to see if they could still buy tickets. So it's pretty good. It's a pretty good deal. And so I do want to talk about this. We had Shanita Bryant cater it. It was amazing. And if you go to the Prospect KC's social, they are up for a big grant. So if you would vote for her, that would be amazing. And she just got the link right there. But yeah, she did our lunch, and we brought in Sheena Mann, who has about 500,000 followers. And her and I spoke about TikTok, and we had a wonderful, total, awesome crowd there. And then I rushed right home to do the show. Look, me and Jeff hanging out today. He was at the event. So he says it was great. And Harry Campbell says, hello. What have you been up to, Scott? I feel like we usually talk all the time. We haven't talked all the time.
I want you to talk more about the event, and we'll talk about Bank of Blue Valley and Burns McDonald and all the people that they're hiring. But we have a guest that's TikTok famous, and then you had some really well-known people there, but you also had some boring business people like me there. So you want to name drop some of the boring business people, the establishment?
Yeah. Erica Brune, Katie Fitzgerald, Maria Flynn. It was a who's who of Kansas City. Megan Considine. It was a who's who of Kansas City. Jeff Palacio. It was a great event. And actually, I'll say this real quick. We're having one especially because this is a LinkedIn audience. So you probably want to get on the wait list for this next one, because we did learn today we have to cap them at 50 people. We are having Cher Jones come in February to speak about hosting your own live show. And she's actually the one that does all the live events. Like, when you can go to LinkedIn Learning, she's the one that teaches all of them for LinkedIn. So she's out of Toronto, and she will come in February and do an event with us there.
Is it profiling if I think she's really nice because she's from Canada?
She is really nice, and I totally agree. They're so kind in Canada.
Yeah, well, speaking of people that are really kind, Bank of Blue Valley is one of the kindest community banks, which happens to be a large national bank, a really good friend of the show, and then Burns and McDonald building Kansas City. And I still think, as people think the recession is coming, Burns McDonald has their foot on the gas and is hiring a ton of people throughout the country, but especially in Kansas City. So that's really exciting.
So it's funny you bring up the recession. I talked to Katie about that today. I said, are your clients, because she's in wealth management, I said, are your clients concerned of talking recession? And she said, yeah, how about you? And I said, every other time in my entire, couple decade career of marketing, people really pull back on their marketing when recession talk is happening. Post-COVID, they're doubling down. Because I think we all saw during COVID, the companies that went all in on their marketing, how well they're doing. So it's been very interesting. We're signing more clients this fourth quarter than ever before. It'll be interesting to see how 2023 goes.
Well, I think it's a complicated thing to unravel. We got to introduce the panel because no one wants to hear us talk. But I think it's because your business has evolved that you can reach the eyeballs of buyers or clients more efficiently than people can. And so that's kind of the tug and pull of what people are doing. But I agree, people are investing in marketing.
Okay, listen, we want to know who's watching, where you're watching us from. Are you on
the music early?
Are you on YouTube? Are you on Facebook? Did you just tune into this music that I absolutely hate and not love? Let us know. There's so much networking that goes on over here in the comments. Let us know. We'll pull up your comment. We'll connect with a ton of people. I can see everybody jamming out because I have special privilege right here. So we're going to bring in our audience. We're going to go boom, 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 and then we'll get straight to questions. Our first guest today is Melissa. We have Ellen. We have Chad. Last but certainly not least, you probably already know him. Oh, did you guys love? I saw you guys jamming out in the waiting room. It's all like, yeah. We've got William Miller. He says, haha, Jeffrey.
Come on the show.
Harry and Jeff are having their own conversation over here. So keep letting us know who you are. Let's just jump right into it. Melissa, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Hey, everybody. Melissa Windon. I'm with Hub. I get the pleasure of working with Scott Havens every day. I'm an employee benefits producer. I moved to Kansas City from Memphis, Tennessee when I was in 8th grade. Went to high school here in Kansas City and then on to KU, Rock Chalk. And then came back to Kansas City and started my career in the legal profession. So I was a paralegal, eventually moved up and became a manager of a litigation department, managed the HR process and onboarding for employees. And then 7 years ago, Scott Havens approached me and said, hey, we're making some moves here at Truss, and we would love to bring you on as an employee benefits producer and a partner of ours. So I joined the organization about 6 years ago and have loved the ride and the journey. Get to, again, work with Scott and Melissa Ford and our team here in the Kansas City office, and absolutely love it.
Oh, you're expecting me to do all the follow-ups because Melissa and I work with each other, which is very easy for me to do because I can lob softballs left and right. And so, Melissa, what is one thing that you do outside of the office that has grown to be very popular and famous around Kansas City?
So 5 years ago, I started a company called Driving Pursuits KC. We teach female leaders in the Kansas City community how to golf. So we started with 11 members in 2019 and had 64 members this year. We've got about 130 applications for next year. We're currently accepting applications, and that process will be completed and reviewed probably mid-January. So I'll share the information on any women that are listening that want to apply and possibly join next year.
So you took something with golf that sometimes seems, even for no matter who you are, a complicated sport, but you've made it more welcoming and more inclusive to others. Where did you see that there was an issue with that, and why did you address it to help others?
So we started Driving Pursuits, my business partner and I, because we were at a sales conference at Loch Lloyd. We were 2 of 4 female producers at our sales conference with about 32 males. And over lunch that day, we were going to have a chipping contest out on the green. And I was in my high heels, had no idea how to golf, go out there with the ball, shank the second one into the woods, and immediately thought, gosh, I would love, to learn and be around other females who are looking to be executives in Kansas City. So partnered with Gretchen Hayes, and we started Driving Pursuits about 6 months later. So really just wanted to even the playing field, set up an opportunity to network with other business leaders in Kansas City, and position ourselves in a sport that really allows you to connect. You don't get, 4 dedicated hours with a prospect uninterrupted very often. So those are kind of some of the ideas behind the reason for founding it.
What if you just want to volunteer to be the golf cart driver and drink? Can you sign up the application?
That's how I started. Totally.
Okay, perfect. I've tried golf. I'm terrible, but I'm really good at driving the golf cart. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Look, we've got so many people in these comments. Michael Mackey says, shalom from Orlando. And Dan says, anyone out there think Melissa could beat Kareem Rush in basketball? So more on that later. Kareem's so hot. He's like, maybe.
And then Aaron, Melissa's nickname is Little. That's why Little.
Is that why everybody keeps saying that? Yeah. I didn't know what's going on over here. Okay. Yeah. Little. Why's your nickname Little?
So I have a stepsister 5 years older than me named Melissa. Her dad married my mom when I was 5. She was 9. So they called us Big and Little, and both have stuck.
Okay.
So She still goes by big, and I'm still little.
I love it. Okay, I was kind of wondering what was going on, but I was like, it must be.
So, Aaron, do you know how like you and Kareem would be like, you'd reference each other from different places? And then Melissa would be like, well, I swear we know each other. And then she's like, little, it's like, oh, bartender at the Bull in Lawrence. And she's like, yes. It's funny
Your
how
college buddies.
Yeah. Well, we knew of each other for sure. Yeah.
Right. Me and Kareem are college buddies, but it's not his turn yet. So, okay. Ellen, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
I'm Ellen McDonald. I'm the arts publicist for most, if not all, of the major arts organizations here in town. What was the second one? Shoot. Something about
what do you do? Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I've been in Kansas City. I got to Kansas City via New York, Brooklyn, where I live with my husband. And then he was headhunted here, and we moved here sight unseen. I don't recommend that, but it worked out just fine. So I've been here about 30 years. I love it. I've started my business about 25 years ago, and now I work with all the big guns here in town, all the arts organizations, the Kaufman Center, the Kansas City Repertory Theater, the Kansas City Ballet, the Lyric Opera, the Kansas City Jazz Orchestra, et cetera, et cetera. So chances are, if you've read or seen anything about any of the goings on in town, I might have had a little finger in it, maybe. So, and what else? I don't know. Yes, that's who I am. Happy to be here.
Very excited to have you. Go ahead, Scott.
So when you think about upcoming projects, because you're so involved in many different things, what are the upcoming projects that you're most excited about?
Right this very second, right now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, on deck, honey. It's Christmas. I'm up to my eyeballs in Christmas. We got the Nutcracker, which is, the Kansas City Ballet's Nutcracker, opening in early December 7th here at the Kaufman Center. So I'm all about that. They'll be at the Kennedy Center performing the week before that. They were invited to perform. They also have the Kansas City Repertory Theater, A Christmas Carol. Hello. You got to check that out. And that's opening up next week, actually. Performance is starting on the 27th of Thanksgiving weekend. Then we have Lyric Opera, A Mall and the Night Visitors, which those huge life-size puppets. This darling, sweet holiday story. That opens December 2nd. And then I am all about Hadestown. That's coming up. I also do the Broadway shows. We got Respect opening tonight at the Kaufman, and then Pretty Women, and then Hadestown. I mean, it's just off to the races in January. So I'm juggling. Every day I think about the plates with the sticks. In the circus. No. You got to keep the plate spinning. That's my life. I keep the plate spinning.
Well, I'd love to ask for the time management aspect for the audience so they can learn how to do all that plate spinning. But you're also incredibly passionate about what you do. What was the aha moment where you found where you're like, that's what I want to do and I'm going to go pursue it?
I can't say that it was one aha moment. I think it was just more. Okay. It's not glamorous, but honestly, it's Aaron, you got this. It's taking your kids to the arts. When they're young, it's sitting in the audience and being utterly transformed. I remember seeing Broadway shows when I was in high school, and having been in the theater at the time in high school and all that's doing all the drama club and everything. And I thought, this, I want to be a part of this. But it was more than that. It wasn't just about being on the stage. I wanted to help connect the people with the art. I wanted to get them in the door. I wanted people to have that same transformative experience that I had. I mean, have you all walked out of a movie, a play, or any concert and been like, my life will never be the same? My life will never be the same, right? We're all talking about the Taylor Swift concert, right? Everybody, it's just, I want everyone to have that experience.
Did you get tickets already?
Are you kidding? No, I have not.
Okay.
Why? No.
Because I accidentally scheduled this thing. I've got the Capital One card and I scheduled the event over the thing. So right now I'm in a little bit of a frenzy.
You're a little bit of a trouble. Yeah. Anyway, so it's just when I was in high school and I saw Chorus Line or, any number of them. It's just like, I got to help people see this. This is important to me. That's what I do.
And I want to say something to Melissa's point, to Mary Ellen's point to that. There's a lot of, if you're not a golfer, there is a lot of business relationships that build out of the arts.
Oh yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. I am tied to the hip with development and community engagement. And so I am very closely aligned with a lot of the businesses here in town. A lot of things couldn't happen without businesses. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So for instance, the CFO that Ellen and I have in common of Kaufman, his daughter was in the show with my daughter this weekend, right? And we became we've seen each other at business things, but now I feel like we're pretty much best friends.
Yeah.
We saw each other all weekend investing in our kids, right?
Right.
So the arts is, if you're not in them, you need to get in them. Look, Harry says, I don't know Ellen, but I love her energy and passion. You go.
Well, Harry, right back at you, honey. Thank you.
So Harry is one of the best public speakers in Kansas City, around the country. Huge fan of Melissa Windon, and he would call you a magnet. And a magnet is something that people are attracted to, and they don't know why.
I think I like that a lot. Harry, thank you. That's wonderful. Well, in my job, I better be, right? Because I want to get people in the door. So yeah, I better be infectious. So thank you. That's very sweet.
Awesome. All right. Well, if you don't know Ellen, better connect with her. We'll talk about more about that too. Look, and Janine says, great to be with you, Ellen. She's in Seattle. Well, we're getting like pretty national here, Scott. All right, Jeff, I'm going to add an extra question to yours. Who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City? And why are you TikTok famous?
Ooh, well, should I start with the most pressing one? Okay, so I'm Jeff Yacos. I'm the team lead of Yacos Associates at Realty Executives. Born and raised in Kansas City. Actually grew up with Scott. Ended up going to KU. Somehow managed to graduate in 4 years. Used a degree.
You graduated in 4?
I know. It's, yeah.
You're
Somehow.
An overachiever.
I used my degree for maybe a whole set of 2 weeks. And then ended up moving back home, took care of the family for a bit, and I started mowing yards when I was in high school, so kind of developed that. I grew a company with another guy, and then about 6 years ago, I ended up deciding to leave that. Always had a passion for real estate, just kind of dove straight in. And now I've got 3 awesome team members that work with me. This year, I'm pretty excited to say we're going to be just over 31 million in sales, about 75 transactions. It's been wild. And this year, it's been pretty crazy for us. We had our daughter at the beginning of the year. And then we also have one on the way that's due about 13 days after Sloan turns 1. We bought and sold 2 houses and just actually recently closed on a radon testing company. So it's been a little crazy in the Yacos household, but it's wouldn't have it any other way. As far as TikTok famous, which is hysterical because I didn't even have a TikTok before this, but we were at one of my favorite restaurants, Applebee's, trying to get my $5 Long Island. And anyways, my sister-in-law is recording this video. And like, I'm just oblivious. We're at Applebee's, and half the time they bring me a wrong drink anyway, so I don't really think anything of it. Naturally, the drink comes out and it's blue. I just take it, and everybody's like, "Is he gonna realize?" I'm just sitting there, and it's like, "Oh, it tastes good." Sounds good, and I have no idea what's going on. Anyways, find out that I'm having baby boy, which I'm very excited about. But then I also didn't realize how popular the video would be, and now there's like 5 million views and like all these comments that people say that I have energy of like a golden retriever, which I didn't know that was a thing. But fortunately, I'd say most of the comments were good. And then I saw a couple nasty ones. I'm like, all right, done with this. I'm just kidding. But no, it's pretty cool. And then it's funny. We were talking earlier, and they're like, "You're that guy." I'm like, "I'm that guy." Just completely oblivious. But
so it was a gender reveal, and you didn't understand that's what they were doing.
No, I was, just out of space, out of mind. And then, but it was cool. Yeah. We're excited. Baby girl, now baby boy, couldn't be happier. So
awesome. Congrats.
We like to blend the worlds of business and TikTok famous, as Erin is one of the experts of TikTok here in the Midwest. But also for the audience, can you educate people on the radon company and why it's an important part of real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of funny. I've been interested in radon testing, as boring as it sounds, for probably close to like 6 or 7 years. I just, especially too with, just the health concerns in general, and especially with every sale in real estate, people are going to do inspections, and radon testing is up there. So it's a great business for myself to kind of partake in too, just with having the connections I built over the years. And that it's naturally occurring. So it's, you could have a certain level in this house, and then you could have a certain level, 100 feet away. So it's one of those where the business model is great. I'm excited to get into it. The previous owner is, it's kind of funny. I was saying it earlier. It's me in woman form. She's like my older sister. It's just a great vibe. And excited to just continue the business model that she's had and grow it. So
cool. Look, Lucas says, let's go, Jeff.
Go, baby.
So I have a question before we get to Kareem. Did you guys, when you guys were at KU, were you guys there the same time Kareem's little brother was there?
Yeah.
2008.
Brandon, yeah, absolutely. Brandon was a year older. And then Brandon knew Bobby Grant, which is how we all interacted with each other. But yeah, that whole crew was, we were all at the Hawk together.
Okay, cool. We were already adults by then, Kareem.
Yeah, one segue really quick before you Melissa Windon and Jeff Yacos. I met you guys for the first business meeting at the same table at Corner Bakery at 135th and Metcalf. Obviously, Jeff, you and I know each other from childhood, but the meeting where I met you both first in business was at that same location, same table.
Crazy. Kareem, who are you?
Yes.
What do you do, and how do you get to Kansas City?
My name is Kareem Rush. I'm born and raised Kansas City native. Went to Pembroke Hill, the middle brother of, I guess, one of Kansas City's, most well-known basketball families. My older brother, Jerron, was a basketball phenom in high school, like a LeBron James style guy. So growing up, with that, playing with him in high school was amazing. Had a crazy high school career. Ended up going to the University of Missouri, MIZ. Oh, yes. Went down there and played extremely well. Was able to, end up getting drafted by the Lakers in 2002. First round, pick number 20. So got to live my basketball dreams. Playing the NBA for the Lakers for 3 years. Played with Shaq and Kobe. Lost in the NBA Finals in 2004. Retired in 2010 with a torn ACL microfracture. So that ended my playing career. But post-career was just as eventful as my playing career. Dabbled into music for a while. Men's fashion, which I've settled on with the Gentleman brand, was my lifestyle brand. We do custom menswear. I got back to Kansas City about 2 years ago in the midst of COVID. Just looking back just to come back and be closer to home. And then dived into real estate, which I'm currently with the Rob Ellerman team, Reese Nichols, for the last 15 months or so. It's just going extremely well. And also just kind of what Jeff is doing with his radon company, finding like a partner, a good secondary business to go along with the real estate. So I got into PNC, got my PNC license, so I'm with all states. So I handle, homeowners, all the type of stuff for my clients as well. So, but those are just kind of secondary. My primary focus, which has been the last 2 years, is building my own professional basketball league called the ABL. I kicked off the first game back in 2018, had a KU versus MU game out of Silverstein. That went really well. COVID kind of had it sitting on the shelf for 2 years, but we recently had our first game in August 6th, I believe, in Maryland. We had Maryland alumni versus Georgetown alumni back on Maryland's campus. We had a sold out, standing room only, a really great event. So now we kind of hyper-focused on 2023, having 8 matchups. We got some historic rivalries. We got Duke, North Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky, Indiana, Purdue, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Syracuse, Georgetown. We got a game here at KU versus K-State. So that season kicks off June of 2023. So excited about building that. And that's a little bit about me.
And you forgot to say you were on a reality show.
That wasn't me. That was my girlfriend. And yeah, I did basketball many years ago.
That's amazing how many things you're involved in. And also that's amazing you got in the business of reoccurring revenue on the property and casualty side for all of your clients. That's awesome. What excites you the most about business in Kansas City? I know you do business all throughout the country, but specifically to Kansas City, what gets you the most excited?
Just being back home and really re-engaging with my former high school friends. A lot of those guys are transitioning on their own business now, so be able to come back home and kind of see a different angle now, where we all got families and stuff. It's been really fun to kind of come back home and be a part of that. So as far as just like kind of growing my business here, I always envision coming back home at some point and having a footing here. So having the real estate team, the life insurance and PNC insurance business is a good way to kind of have that be my base while I build out the ABL league.
And then from real estate, obviously you're learning history all throughout the city, and your family played a big role in history in the city. I haven't watched the documentary, but isn't there a documentary about your family plays a big role in, and also the history of basketball in Kansas City?
Yeah. There's been a couple. We actually had we got approached years and years ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago, by ESPN to do kind of a sizzle for a 30 for 30. Didn't end up winning that, but we won a competition for DirecTV. So if you look on the Audience Network, there's a documentary called Rush Brothers that's out there. It's really well done. And the one that came out a couple years ago from a guy Carrington who works at 610 is For Sale to Pembroke, which highlights from 1998 to 2008, the 10 years of Kansas City basketball. We played a big role of that. But really well done.
It's so crazy because it's everyone we grew up with on that one. I've watched that one. So it makes you feel like, that was just yesterday.
No, I feel like if you're a Gen X or millennial in Kansas City, we'll be watching that for decades. And so go ahead.
I wish social media was around when Jerron was playing in high school. It would have been amazing to see how big, especially now with the NIL stuff and these kids been able to monetize their name, image, and likeness. Jerron would have been, it would have been pretty wild.
And Jerron just became a dad again. I don't know how he's doing that at our age. I'm so impressed. He just had another little baby.
Yeah, 43.
Yeah,
43. So another girl too. That's tough, but yeah, healthy baby. She's beautiful. We couldn't be more happy to have her.
And how old are your kiddos now?
My kids are 17 and 14. I have two. I have a senior and a freshman down in Rockbridge in Columbia, both big volleyball players. My oldest is looking at Creighton, KU, unfortunately, because she doesn't want to go to Mizzou, which is tough to take. And also, she's looking at some Ivy League schools back east. My youngest is probably going to be the athlete. She's 14. She's about 6'1", so she has the height. But both huge, big volleyball players.
If your entire family's together, are we rooting for KU or Mizzou as an overall family?
I think probably KU, actually. I mean, they win. So at some point you can't hate the winning, so you got to give credit where credit's due.
The guy that did sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it was exciting that we got Brandon, who's going to serve, because another unique aspect to our league is that we allow the former players to be GMs and run their own teams, eventually even owning their own franchise within our league. So have Brandon be able to kind of be the GM of the KU team is going to be fun to see. Have him be able to come back and be back involved with the school. So that's what we're really trying to bridge those gaps, keep guys really back involved with their universities. Because if you think about those historic schools, Duke, North Carolina, those alumni associations are really strong. And that's what we're trying to breed with our league, to keep those schools connected with the former and current players.
I was going to say that Carrington, the guy that did the Paseo to Pembroke, he's a big Mizzou guy too. So I felt like there's a little bit of Mizzou feel to that too. So
yeah, we got a few Tigers around the city.
One or two of them. All right. Okay, well, let's move on to the Burns McDonald question of the day. I'm going to play it, and then Melissa, right when she's done, you go ahead and answer it.
Hi, my name is Megan Stretz, and I'm an HR business partner here at Burns & McDonnell. I work with employees to help them reimagine the path to success in their careers. Can you tell me how you define and demonstrate the values in your organization?
I think just at Hub locally and nationwide, really, we try to follow the servant leader model. So we support our service teams and our clients through serving them first. And I think that's so important. And it took me a long time to figure that out, that really, especially when it comes to being in sales and constantly having that struggle between sales and support and operations and sales, really supporting our team and making sure that they are set up to succeed, not over-promising in the sales process, and just making sure that we've got those strong relationships both internally and then with our clients, which allows, our team to service them in the best way. I think with driving pursuits too, we've adopted that model as well because, we're providing a platform for women to access something that they wouldn't otherwise have access to in a non-threatening environment. So we're all of very similar skill levels, and those that are members of Driving Pursuits that have played now for 3 or 4 years are in our alumni program. So they've got that same support at their skill level as well. So.
Cool. How about you, Ellen?
So, yeah, great question. And actually, COVID really gave me an opportunity to fine tune these. I was practicing them, but I don't think I was being as articulate as I needed or wanted to be. So I have 3 values. I practice kindness every day. I am honest almost to a fault. And I look to elevate in everything that I do. So I start my day every morning when I sit down in my little world and I say 3 times, give grace, give grace, give grace. And then that just kind of sets the tone and intention of what I want to do throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, I say, okay, how'd I do? What worked, what didn't? And I just kind of, have a little thought. I'm honest because otherwise I couldn't do what I do. If I weren't honest, it would be a very short career. And finally, elevate. And this gets back to what you were talking about earlier about I am at the stage of my career when I want to elevate all the people who are not where they want to be in their careers. I probably mentor right now. I'm probably mentoring about 15 people in different ages and stages of their career. A lot of women, a lot of young women, a lot of people, at all ages and stages and genders and whatnot, trying to make sure that they feel empowered and skilled and in control of their future. All I can do is speak from my experience and be the person that I wish that I had in my 20s or whatever, and try to help them be happier and more fulfilled. So that's what I do all the time. That's how I live the value. Great question. Thank you.
So Ellen, Melissa and I are in a career where we kind of have to, if there's bad news, we have to give it really quickly. So we have to really, really transparent about it.
Yes.
Is it something about your industry that obviously Brandon, Kareem, and Jeff will agree with? They have to with their industry. Why in your industry do you have to be radically transparent so quickly?
Because I can't promise anything I can't deliver. If I promise something, I have to deliver. If I don't, nobody's going to trust me. Nobody's going to want to work with me on either side, either from the client or the industry that I work with. Nobody, I can't deliver. I'm just a talking mouth. So I have to be very honest. Yeah. So that makes me dependable because now my brand is dependability, because if you're talking to Ellen, she going to deliver.
Mm-hmm. No, I always say if you can be in an industry where you can avoid it, but a lot of us, we're in business, so you kind of have to give people the information quickly,
right?
Dependably.
Right. And I absolutely have to share bad news. I have clients who want to be on the front page of the New York Times. Like, honey, we got to talk. Right. So, but you just do the best that you can do. I feel you. I hear you. You're right.
Jeff, how about you?
It's kind of funny. She kind of led into it. For me, it's really just transparency. I think especially in sales in general, there's kind of a fine line there. And really, I just kind of tell people I'm in the relationship business, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if you're buying your first home, your second home, your third home. I want people to reach out to me, whether they need, contractor bids for a bathroom or a radon test or, whatever it might be. I implore to, especially all my agents to be the person that people reach out to. I've kind of always have a hashtag of positivity and networking, because at the end of the day, you surround yourself with good people. You provide just a good aura, a good vibe. People attract to that, and they want to be a part of that. So, and then just enthusiasm in general. I love what I do. I know I'd say most people that know me know that I love what I do, and I'm good at it. So kind of keep it short and simple. That's that's kind of the golden rule. You put out good things, you get good things in return.
Jeff, I don't know if you recognize the last name on the person asking that question, Megan Stretz. I don't know if that rings a bell, but that her husband. But what's an attribute with your associates that now work on your team that you try to instill in them?
To get uncomfortable, if they can master being uncomfortable, they'll be wildly successful. And so recently I was about probably 97% residential. And they were really wanting to get in the commercial realm. And they, two of my agents just closed on a very significant commercial deal, which they didn't have a lot of insight into it. And, frankly, for me, try to be as big of a coach as I can is, well, let's reach out to other agents in our office or other resources. And it obviously was a little bit uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, they powered through, got everything that they needed to for their clients and to make educated decisions. And I couldn't be happier,
Awesome. All right, Kareem, how about you?
Well, for me, I'm not necessarily in sales, but as we are growing out and building out my league, so from a founder, owner standpoint, it's really about communication, staying organized, delegating responsibilities, because we're talking to 8 or 9 different GMs, players across the country. They're organizing teams. We're trying to get logos. We're trying to get merchandise lined up. So it's been a lot to take on. But like I said, it's being organized, having that open line of communication with all our advisors and other founders is making this process a lot easier for us. So I would say that's kind of my main focus right now.
So from a time management standpoint, I want to ask Helen, but it's same for you, but I feel like everyone else has a lane they're staying in. You're staying in 4 different lanes as an entrepreneur and a founder on different things. So I know it's an easy question, but how do you manage your time? But if you could get in the details of how you manage your time.
Having, partners and team members, mainly in real estate, my girlfriend, who's my partner, manages a lot of the responsibility, the back end, for our deal. I'm in charge of the marketing. I mean, the same that goes with this league. The ideas come from me, but the website design is all outsourced. We got a marketing team, all that type of stuff. So being able to delegate different responsibilities for our branches to be successful is what keeps me in line and organized to be able to pull off all these different things at the same time.
Awesome. Okay, well, we have some time left, so I want to ask this question that I didn't prep you guys for, right? But first of all, can you guys believe it snowed last night? That was crazy. But that definitely means we're right in the middle of Q4, right? Right smack dab in the middle of Q4. So how close are you to closing out your 2022 goals, whether those be professional and personal? And have you set your 2023 goals? And what do those look like? Let's start with you, Melissa.
Awesome. Yeah. Q4 in our business, as most people know, is bananas. About 80% of our book of business renews in Q4. So it's been wild. It's been a great year, very successful, across the board professionally for me. Yes. I've hit my goals, fortunately. Going into next year, those goals have been defined as well. So super excited to kind of hit the ground running after January 1st. Personally, my short-term goal is I'm getting married in February. So I've got a wedding at the very end of February. So, that's kind of on the horizon, and looking past that any further is not really an option right now. There's a lot of boxes to be checked, but we're having fun, and we're about 3 months out now. So super excited. And to your point, Aaron, I love being intentional with not resolutions necessarily, but goals going into the next year. So thanks for the reminder on that. That's a good call to get started early.
Awesome.
I question, what is a personal goal? Not getting married. That's a big one.
Well,
But do you have anything that you're really looking forward to in 2023 that you want to execute?
No, I haven't set the specific golf related goal for next year, but with Driving Pursuits we're going into our 5th year, I feel like I really need to establish a handicap, whatever that is. At least I'll have the information. This year it was kind of to determine how far I could hit certain clubs. I didn't have a lot of extra time this year to go out and practice. So once the wedding is over, spring will be here, and then we'll be able to focus and kind of set some of those goals around golf.
Building a house in a pandemic is kind of hard.
That was the pre-wedding projects, and then we dove right in. Yep.
Ellen,
Spent
oh,
2
sorry.
years.
Built a house. This has been a crazy market to build a house in.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ellen, what about your goals, both professionally and personally?
So my goals for 2022, I've actually exceeded them. My business was definitely impacted during COVID. I actually thought I might be done, and it turned out to be, I set a record of revenue. It was really quite remarkable. That's a conversation for another time. So now I'm not really sure what my goals are because I've exceeded them in the last 2 years. So I'm definitely reaching my capacity and then some. So I'm very happy about that. But I love that you asked me 2023. I'm like, oh my God, I guess I know I have to think about that, right? I don't know. I don't know my professional goals for 2022, managing the growth. I think that's probably the best thing I can hope for 2023. And personally, my goals are to see my family. I have 2 grown children, one of whom lives with he and his wife and my 2 grandkids in Canada, and my other one who lives in New Zealand with her wife and their grandchild. So we're going to New Zealand next month for 3 weeks. I'm very excited, and I'm hoping to be able to figure out how I can see them in 2023. It's, be careful when you raise children that want to see the world, right? So
have you been to New Zealand before?
No. Well, I've seen all the Hobbit movies. Does that count? No.
Well, that's exciting.
Very exciting. It's very exciting. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's me.
Those are pretty good goals. Yeah, guys, 2023 is like 6 weeks away.
Thank you for that.
Get on it.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, how about you, both professional and personal goals?
Yeah, professionally, it's been an incredible year, to be honest. We were kind of aiming to try to be right around 25 million. And like I said, as a team, we're going to be a little bit north of 31 million. Obviously next year, we haven't really gone through our goals as a team yet. And obviously, depending on what interest rates do and the housing market in general will kind of dictate that a little bit. But my goal this year was to try to sell about 1 home a week. And I accomplished that. So financially, and business wise, I couldn't be more excited, especially for my team. And then personally, I'd say I kind of hit it too. My big push for this year was to work more on a work-life balance. Those who know me know that I would never put this thing down. And it's, especially having my daughter, trying to spend more time with, the early years of her life and spending time with my wife and, taking vacations. And so I would say I'm actually pretty proud of myself for taking the time that, to really enjoy, the fruits of the labor. Next year, we got another one. We have 2 kids under basically 1. I don't know how all that's going to pan out, but I'm fortunate to have an amazing wife to do this with. Only onward and upward.
Jeff, how do you keep your foot on the gas?
A lot of alcohol. I'm just kidding.
Or do you want to? I mean, I'm sure that's something you weigh back and forth, and people that are in their 30s and 40s are, you got to slow down to go fast, or you got to go fast to slow down, or however you want to say it. But how do you balance that? Because you do want to keep your foot on the gas.
1,000%. Well, I think at the end of the day, for me, it's getting everything as perfected as much as you want, right? So like when we recently just purchased the Radon company, I would say, like, as far as my real estate business in general, it's where I want it to be. Obviously I want to grow. I want to, build, especially my agent's business as well. But it's perfecting to everything that you can to make sure your systems are in place before kind of adding on the next thing. And yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, as far as keeping things on the gas, I mean, I've got a goal to buy at least 1 or 2 rental properties a year. I've got goals to potentially buy out, another company down the road, but I'm not trying to get in too quickly to make sure that everything's established and running the way it should. So
you let me know when you're ready to buy a marketing company. I'm just kidding.
Gotcha.
All right, Kareem, how about you? What are both your professional and personal goals?
Professionally, it's been a really good year. Definitely exceeded our goals first year. Being part of our development team has been tremendous value for us. So continues to grow that. And also been able to pull off our first successful event for the ABL. It was a huge undertaking to pull it off in 6 weeks, and we did that with amazing amount of success. So, pushing into 2023, just continue to grow the real estate business, and also get ready for June where we kick off this league, 8 games schedule. So, those are the plans.
What about personally?
Personally, I'm in the dunk in 2023. Get back to dunking so I can play in my league.
Nice.
I have a feeling this question over here I don't think it's for me. I think it's for you. LeBron or Michael as the GOAT?
MJ. Hands down.
Good answer.
Yes.
Kareem, how do you, as you make your goals for 2023, avoid putting too much into one area? Do you like are there certain months, because you have 4 different businesses going on? How do you make sure that you're not overdoing it? Because Jeff was talking about a work-life balance. How do you do that and predict that the audience could learn from?
I mean, I really put a primary focus on certain things and delegate the rest. So for real estate, I allow my girlfriend to kind of manage towards the top of the year, and then season for the ABLs kicks off. Those 3 to 4 months, I'm going to be extremely busy there. So I got to find somebody to help on the back end. But having good team members and good partners allows me to kind of be able to jump from business to business.
Harry says 100.
Yeah, MJ.
I didn't know if he was saying that or the good business partners. I think he could be saying to both, but he's probably to MJ. You're right. I thought he meant about the good business partners. All right, Scott, we have about 15 minutes left, so I'm going to let you ask a question that's better than an icebreaker, please. Thank you.
Okay, the Melissa and the rest of the panel, who is a GOAT in the business world that you look up to? It could be multiple people, could be one person, but who's the GOAT in your world, and why do you look up to him, or is there a characteristic you aspire to have?
Man, honestly, Melissa Ford, who has been a mentor of mine at Hub. I've known her for about 15 years, which is crazy. And she has just been such a great mentor to me. She is a servant for her clients. She is an expert when it comes to our business and our industry. And she interacts with and treats our team amazing. So, she's just taught me a lot along the way, and just been a great support system and a great mentor for me.
Obviously, I'm biased on that answer.
Yes.
Who is someone that is a GOAT in the business world for you, and what's a characteristic that you admire about them?
Oh, is it for me?
Yes, Ellen.
Okay. Great question. So I have to give a shout out to a client of mine. This is a gentleman who is the executive director of the Kansas City Ballet, who has just announced his retirement at the end of next June, the end of the fiscal year. His name is Jeffrey Bentley, and he has been part of the company. For any of you who've been in town, who knew what the company was and where it is now, and how it has helped elevate the profile of Kansas City and the arts in Kansas City. It is an absolutely remarkable job. And he has done it so quietly that you don't, probably any of you know his name, but he's played an absolutely critical role in the building of the Bollinger Center, which you've driven by 1,000 times as you go downtown. It's by Union Station, and then a critical role in building of the Kauffman Center, and just the elevating of all of the art forms and how everybody plays together and works together and collaborates and partners. And so his tenacity, his determination, his 25 years in a leadership role is not insignificant. I mean, there are days, right? We all have the days. It's like, oh my Lord, can I just give the weight to someone else for a little while longer? And he does not. His commitment to excellence is something I think to be lauded. So I take that to heart, especially as he's winding down his career, thinking about what's next. So I want to take some elements of that career and pay that forward. So that's one that comes to mind.
So Jeff, in business, who is a GOAT that you look up to, and what are the characteristics you admire about them?
I got two guys, Andy Blake and Tony Long. They were with Realty Executives. That's who I ended up switching over there from Remax. It was pretty cool. You know, they've got very, very successful real estate teams. And, you know, essentially when they decided to move over and create this elite division, it was more along the lines of, all right, let's generate a group of great people and figure out, okay, how can we help each other out, whether it's listing presentation books or buyer packets or, you know, most of us knew what we were doing, but it's just like fine tuning. You know, like, how do you hire an assistant? What do you look for as far as bringing on new team members? So that I would say they really kind of shaped my business in general as far as growth is concerned. So big shout out to Andy and Tony.
Kareem, who is someone that is the GOAT for you from a business perspective that you admire, and what do you admire about them?
I have two, actually. So from a sports perspective, business, obviously Michael Jordan was really one guy who introduced branding to the traditional athlete. So all these things that LeBron and Kobe and all those guys are doing really kind of started with Jordan. How do you monetize who you are beyond just the playing field, which I use to this day. And then from a personal experience, probably Tom Grant. He was our AAU sponsor when I was 11 years old. So I saw firsthand how he was able to grow and build different businesses and just amazing amounts of success, and just the tenacity to build those, you know, so those are two much.
Yeah, as a business show, he hasn't just hit one home run, the Grant family. They've hit many of those home runs.
Yeah.
So.
And you just posted a picture on your LinkedIn the other day of you and Michael Jordan actually playing against each other.
I did. Got a chance to play in my rookie year.
So, you know, no big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal when you get to play your GOAT. Who's yours, Scott?
I have a ton of them. I do remember there was a moment in time when I was at the Overland Park Marriott, and I was cold calling 100 people a day. And I just started having coffees with my Men's Warehouse suit that I got. You know, you could get like 4 for $100, and pretending like I was in business, but I was living paycheck to paycheck. And there was a woman named Terry Selez that had worked, went to be a stay-at-home mom, and then went back and started working again. And I remember watching her work a room and do business and watching how much better than she was than everyone else, but yet she had really, and only in theory, been in the work world for like a year or two. And so I really just gravitated towards watching her and just seeing how hard she worked and everything that she did. And so I don't think, I still haven't told her that, but I do remember watching that. And then because of her, I started gravitating towards a lot of other women in business that were working moms. What about you, Erin?
Oh, mine is Mel Robbins, because she's done a lot of like taking the marketing space into the motivational space. And one of my biggest regrets, so nobody ever do this because I regret this so much, is the beginning of COVID when everything was super scary. I somehow had some Zoom meeting with someone I met on LinkedIn, and he said his like most favorite person that he wanted to be one day was Les Brown. And I said mine was Mel Robbins. He actually had a relationship with Mel Robbins, and I had my relationship with Les Brown. And for some reason we talked about that, but we never said, hey, let's develop our relationships all together. Right. And that's probably one of my biggest regrets, because she's still one of my favorite and I've never met her or anything. So you got to make those connections quicker, because no matter what scary times we're in. Right.
I was so blown away. So Les Miles came on the show. I didn't really know a lot. I mean, you hear Les Brown, you hear him in like anything popular, but I've never been present in a moment where every line he said was like very impactful.
Yeah. So he's still a great mentor of mine, and I get to talk to him at least weekly, and that's how I feel every single phone call. So, all right, ask one of your stupid little. We've got 5 minutes, 1 minute or less to answer. Ask one of your
it's cheesy.
that I hate so much.
It's cheesy, but you know what?
Lacey says, "Break the ice, Scott."
Yeah, she knows. Yeah,
and Jeff loves Terry.
Yeah, it's cheesy, but hopefully no one's done it yet. What is one thing, Melissa Windon, that you hate on Thanksgiving, and what's thing that you absolutely have to have?
I hate cranberries, like cranberry sauce, like even the fresh ones, the canned, all of it. There's no version of cranberries that I can get down with. And the other part of it was what do I love?
What's one thing you have to have and one thing you could do without? And I agree with you on the cranberries.
Yeah, cranberries. Yeah, no, let's cancel cranberries. The Thanksgiving, let's see, turkey and stuffing. That's my jam. The stuffing in the turkey.
All right, Ellen. What's one thing you can do without, but one thing that you cannot live without?
Okay, just give me all the cranberries. Just send it my way. I love that tart sweet. I could eat it all day long. Oh man, I just love the cranberries. Salad. Who does salad? I mean, who needs the green on the plate? That's just a waste of real estate. So skip the salad. Give me all the good stuff.
All right, Jeffrey, you've been on the show now 2 times. I don't know if it's been 3 times, but one time? Okay, what is one thing that you could do without on Thanksgiving, and what is one thing?
I was going to say the cranberries. Now I can't think of anything.
Say cranberry jam, like Lacey says over here.
Yeah, I just never been a big fan of it. Gosh, I'm trying to think of something else. Just like, I mean, I feel like I always try everything. Like I will say like I prefer dark meat over the light meat because I feel like light meat's too dry. So I always get myself a nice leg. But yeah, it's the cranberries. I was like, why do people put that? Why is that even an option? Like when you have dessert afterward, you put it on the plate and it gets mixed in with all the other good stuff. And it's like, well, I don't want to do that. But.
So Kareem, what is one thing that you can live without, but the one thing you can't live with, or you can live without, but one thing you really like on Thanksgiving?
Kareem, you're muted.
I say, like everybody else, cranberries are not my favorite. Let's say I'm not a big fan of stuffing. I'm not a big fan. So I do it out the stuff, and I can't do without some pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie.
Ellen's face while you guys all said cranberries. That's so animated.
Except for the 90s band, the Cranberries. But what about you, Aaron? What is one thing that you really like, but one thing you could do without?
I don't really like turkey, and I don't like stuffing. I could really do without Thanksgiving dinner, to be really truthful. We're going to go to Lulu's Southern Kitchen and do their buffet because then Devin performs at the Plaza Lighting. So it's just going to be like a day downtown for us. And it's going to be the best. So I could do without all of it. But I do like pumpkin pie. How about you?
Amazing. They're amazing woman-owned business that does the Plaza Lighting. Shout out to Susan, that I think is a old client of Melissa Windon and I's. The one thing is deviled eggs. I love them. Love them. Have to have them. Haven's family. You go in the garage and eat them just so people don't see you do it. And then also, like Jeff, love dark meat. I just don't, I'm responsible for cooking the turkey a lot of times, but I mean, it's just hard. It's hard to cook chicken right. It's hard to cook the light meat and turkey right. It's just tough.
Harry Campbell says he could do without the Detroit Lions football. And Jeff just thinks he's the funniest guy in the world. So awesome. Well, you know what? Since we're talking holidays, I'm just going to set us up for the next 2 shows. Next week, we are going to have only small businesses in Kansas City that you can actually purchase from over the weekend for Small Business Saturday. So those will be our guests next week. And the week after that is actually Giving Tuesday. So we're going to have 4 people from nonprofits on. So if you're still looking for your favorite nonprofit to donate to on Giving Tuesday, we will have lots of nonprofits here to choose from. So we've got a couple really awesome shows coming up. We want to thank everybody that joined us today, both over here in the comments, in the audience. If you didn't comment, next time you can get it. Everybody for commenting, watching, and our entire amazing panel. Dan says it was a great show. Thank you, Dan. 2 thumbs up right there. Thank you guys so much for coming on and from joining us, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, 6 weeks till 2023. Better get ready. All right. Bye, guys.